Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central CFL content for the fans, by the fans. It is free agency now as Tommy Nield signs with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers after quite a few years in Toronto, and then his last year in Saskatchewan, where he had done relatively well. Made a big clutch catch in the West Final to bring the Riders to the Grey Cup, which, of course, they would win the Grey Cup game. The Canadian-born receiver will now head over to Winnipeg. He was born in Guelph, Ontario, went to school at McMaster, just right near where you are, Rick.
Yes.
And is now on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So firstly, I got to say, in terms of a depth receiver, and when I say depth receiver, I'm talking about that this is like a number 4, number 5. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it,
ask you that.
Well, what I'm saying is your 1, 2, 3 is, and I'm not putting this in any particular order. I'm just saying your top 3
Dembski, White, and Wilson.
Dembski, White, Wilson. You know what I mean? And so Tommy Nield, the great thing is that if you have Tommy Nield out there, firstly, I really like Tommy Nield as a receiver. And secondly, it's one of those things, if you have him on the bench and you want to throw him out there with him being Canadian, it's just easy. You can put him wherever you want. You don't have to think about any ratio. None of that shit. You know what I mean? Nice and easy. Makes life easy. And again, he has that clutch pedigree. When push came to shove, when it was do or die, and he had to make the catch, and it was a low ball. It looked like it was a hard one to catch. He catches it. Now, if you're Amar Doman, you might say that the football touched the ground. It was his elbow, Amar. I'm not a Rider fan either, but I could see the difference between the elbow and the football. He made that catch. He totally did. And it was an incredible catch at such a key time in the game. You know what I mean? There's so many guys that would just kind of crumble under that pressure, and he doesn't. And so now with this one, Rick, I believe you have some information regarding the nature of the deal.
So it's I don't have the dollar value, but it is for a 2-year deal. So
nice.
27. Good thing is, in 13 games, he only missed 11 passes, so that's good. Because when Tim White drops 42 or does not catch 42 passes, Tommy Nield's going to be that go-to receiver.
Yeah. No, but honestly, this was a signing that I'm not going to lie. There were some signings that Winnipeg made, and you'll see videos out on some of those that I was kind of expecting. You know what I mean? Where I was like, they need to make a splash here. This is a guy I expect them to go for, and that's pretty much who they got. This was one I wasn't expecting. I knew that they were probably going to get at least one more receiver. It wasn't that I didn't think of Tommy Nield in the terms of that I didn't think it was worth it, you know what I mean? I just wasn't sure if Winnipeg was maybe going to try to re-sign one more of the guys that they had last year, but they're not. They're going to bring him in, but I really enjoyed seeing what Tommy Nield was capable of in Saskatchewan. I couldn't be happier to have him in the blue and gold. Much better than that green and white he was wearing before.
So I have a general question for you, since you're a Bomber fan.
Oh, yeah.
So my question to you is, where do you see this team for this upcoming season? Do you see, because we all know Dembski and White can
Are you asking what the expectation is for Winnipeg?
No, so my question is, before when you had Lawler, Schoen, and Dembski, you almost had 3 1,000-yard receivers. So now that you have Tim White and Dembski, both capable of 1,000-yard receivers, do you think...
Plus Wilson. I'd say Wilson's capable of that as well.
No, what I was going to say was, do you think Collaros going into his 37, 38 year, do you think he can put up the 4,000 and have...
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
1,000-yard receivers?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Everyone's wondering, why was Collaros not able to perform the way this year that he was able to others? I would challenge you to find a pass this fucking season where he had a stable pocket, where he wasn't running away from guys that were 150 pounds heavier than him. Seriously. It was you know what it was? He was playing whack-a-mole, but he was playing as the mole. And it was just offensive linemen, D linemen just fucking whacking, and he was trying to run away. And so it was one of those things where I think a big priority for Winnipeg is going to be keeping Collaros protected. That's why there's another signing that we're going to be talking about regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Collaros is still an elite quarterback. There's a reason that Winnipeg went to 5 consecutive Grey Cup games, and people will mention that they lost 3 of them. Whatever, they did. They also won 2 of them. It's not like they didn't win anything there. And the fact is that they got to the game when other teams they had beat other teams to get there. They consistently had done very well in that regard. And so I think that this is a good signing for Winnipeg. I think that there's a lot that a guy like Zach Collaros can do. And I think what the Bombers looked at this year is they're like, okay, like Collaros is still a great talent. Obviously, he's going to be out in a bit of time, and so eventually that the Bombers will need to figure out a replacement. Whether that's a guy like, I don't know if maybe they see more in Bryce Perkins that maybe they were expecting. Who knows if maybe Taylor Elgersma is looking at Winnipeg and potentially interested in that. Maybe Winnipeg picks someone from elsewhere. Who knows? Maybe Drew Brown gets brought back if it doesn't work out in Ottawa. Who knows, And so with that's a problem Winnipeg will deal with. But the problem as of right now, the concern that Winnipeg has now is Zach Collaros needs the tools to be able to succeed. You got the running back. You got the Brady Oliveira. You made some improvements to your O-line. He's got to have the talent to throw to. And I think that's what this Tommy Nield signing represents, is if Tommy Nield is your 4th or 5th receiver, your receiver core is doing pretty damn good. You know what I mean? I'm very pleased with the signing as a Bomber fan.
And keep in mind, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to be on Carter's butt this year, and he knows that I'm going to keep on bringing this up. We have yet to see what the Tommy Condell Winnipeg Blue Bombers look like this year. So you can betcha. We're going to be watching this like under a microscope.
Rick is the biggest Tommy Condell hater I've ever seen, and I kind of love it. Rick, you got to own that title. You got to own it. You got to shirt.
I do own that title. I do own that title.
I will say, if the Bombers win a Grey Cup with Tommy Condell as the OC, I'm going to laugh my ass off.
So, in his, I think it's probably, I want to say, 8-9 years he's been in the CFL. He's only won once as a receivers coach. He's never won an OC, a Grey Cup as an OC. He's been there 3 times as an OC, and he hasn't won yet.
Well, first time for everything.
Well, I can't say 3rd time's a charm because this won't be 4th time as a charm. But
we don't say 3rd time's a charm either, because we lost 3 consecutive Grey Cups. We tried it that year. It didn't work out so well. So
everything happens in 3s, my friends.
Except for when it doesn't. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link in the description below to our Discord, where we discuss all things CFL, NHL, all sorts of sports stuff. So make sure you guys go there and keep the conversation going. And, so I think that's pretty much all we got. And we'll see you guys next time.